Hello everyone, I'm Alfonso from Clickit, a nearshore DevOps company. Today, I'm going to show you a crucial story in your SaaS application, which is to design a multi-tenant database architecture with 3 design patterns. Now the time for the database multi-tenancy. Don't get confused. In our last video, we covered multi-tenancy at the application level. So at the end of this video, you will learn 4 different tactics to approach database multi-tenancy that can be applied to any of your database systems, either Postgres, MySQL, and DynamoDB or MongoDB. So software development managers, DevOps leaders, or architects, stay tuned. Hey, before I get started, I want you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get more DevOps content like this and you will get notified. We help SaaS companies to reduce DevOps costs through a nearshore framework, which makes us work as your in-house DevOps team. Additionally, we have a 30-day trial offer with no upfront payment. Try us before you buy. So, we will demonstrate 3 types of SaaS multi-tenant database architectures. When choosing your architecture, there are multiple criteria to assess. Scalability, which covers number of tenants, storage per tenant, and workload. Then we have tenant isolation, database cost, development complexity, including changing schemas, queries, and more bits. And the final criteria will be operational complexity, covering database clustering, update tenant data, database administration, and maintenance. So let's dive into the architectures. Multi-tenant database architecture number 1. Single database, a table per tenant. This is what I call it, a pure database multi-tenancy. This multi-tenant database example is the common and the default installation by software architects. It is very cost-effective when having a small startup or with a few dozens of organizations. It consists of leveraging a table per each tenant within a database schema. There are specific trade-offs for this architecture, including the sacrifice of data isolation, noise among tenants, and performance degradation, meaning that one tenant can overuse compute and run resources from another. In regard to data isolation and compliance, let's say that one of your developers makes a mistake and brings the wrong tenant information to your customer. Imagine the data breach. Please ensure never expose information from more than one tenant. That's why this architecture model is not recommended when SaaS applications need to be compliant. However, it is used widely because of its cost effectiveness. Listen, let's start with the pros. It has the lowest cost per tenant. Also, it is very easy to scale your architecture, and it is great architecture for hundreds or thousands of tenants. Now, the dark side, the cons. Number 1, it is hard to troubleshoot a single tenant per table. As well, it is hard to back up and restore a single tenant per table. Moreover, reaching the single database limits, it becomes extremely difficult to control and manage. And the final con is that it has low tenant isolation. Now let's go to the multi-tenant database architecture number 2. Still a single database containing a schema per tenant. This multi-tenant database design is still very cost-effective and more secure than the pure tenancy, the database pool model. If you are concerned about data partitioning, this solution is slightly better than the previous one. One important distinction to notice is that with more than 100 schemas or tenants within a database, it can provoke a lag in your database performance. Hence, it is recommended to split the database into 2 and add the second database as a replica. However, the best database tool for this approach is Postgres, which supports multiple schemas without much complexity. And lastly, this strategy of a schema per tenant share resources, compute, and storage across all its tenants. As a result, it provokes noisy tenants that utilize more resources than expected. Now, moving to the pros. It has a low development complexity. Also, it is more secure versus a single database. As well, it has the ability to customize specific schemas per tenant. And lastly, a good practice is that it can be used for a few dozen of schemas. In the other corner, as a con, sadly, it doesn't comply with PCI HIPAA regulation. However, if you don't need them, who cares? Also, updating a database structure, you will need an update to all the schemas, and finally, it contains a medium tenant isolation. Or number 3, a database instance per tenant, single tenant database. This technique is significantly more costly than the rest of multi-tenant database architecture examples, but it complies with security regulation. It is best for performance, scalability, and data isolation. This pattern uses one database instance per tenant. It means if the SaaS app has 100 of tenants, therefore there will be 100 of database servers. Extremely costly, right? When PCI, HIPAA, or SOC 2 is needed, it is vital to utilize a database siloed model, or at least find a workaround with the correct IAM roles, the best container orchestration, either Kubernetes or Amazon ECS namespaces, a VPC per tenant, and encryption everywhere. So, what we have for pros? Number one, it has a high tenant and data isolation, and also it is widely used and accepted by the customer. On the other hand, as the cons, it has the highest cost per tenant. Additionally, it is complex to manage and scale to dozens of database servers. What are the best database systems for a multi-tenant database architecture? Well, the best option is Amazon RDS with Postgres. Also, you could leverage DynamoDB, which is a great strategy for a single tenant database with a single shared table. Actually, these two types of database systems are very fast. As a bonus advice, include GraphQL in front of any of these databases to increase speed on data retrieval, speed on development, and an alternative to RESTful API, which helps to relieve requests from the backend servers to the client. At the end of the day, each multi-tenant database design will be different. From the app layer side can be single tenant, and the side of database layer might be multi-tenant. So we need to analyze what is the optimal customer strategy per each service and data isolation. This multi-tenant ecosystem is not one size fits for all SaaS applications. Instead, it becomes a blend of a multi-tenant solution. Either way, SaaS company needs a real DevOps expert able to resolve this type of challenge. An insured DevOps team around you will help you on the DevOps part, as well help you improve engineering productivity and in parallel to increase profit. It is just an incomparable strategy. Check out our website at clickittech.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment below any database architecture that I missed, and let's contribute to our network. Hasta la vista!